back. This is Chief Oju of the Curriculum Committee here at Black Hammer. We need you, revolutionary educators, whether you're teaching in your school or teaching your kid the revolutionary ABCs at the work. We need you to join our curriculum committee so we can teach our young people, our members, and everyone out there about Black Hammer's revolutionary anti-colonial line. All right? Join today and let's get to teaching our people.
Land back, y'all.
Land back, everyone. How's everyone doing this fine morning? I got my coffee ready. Who else got some coffee?
I got some tea.
Ooh, and the land back mug. Cute. Look at that. Super cute.
So cute. Before we continue, we're going to introduce ourselves again. We always forget this point. Would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ren. I guess Minister Ren, if you will. I represent the nations of Panama and Colombia, and I am committing class suicide. I am from the bourgeoisie class, and I use they, she pronouns.
Land back, Minister Ren. And land back to everyone in the comments. There's G, Chief Mays. I believe it's Chief Cambiata. City Builder B. I don't know who you are, but land back. My name is Watakame. I represent the Poca Noidarica people of Abya. I am of the poor working class, and I use they them pronouns. So that's who we are.
Land back, a street beggar.
Ooh, there's a thing going on. Tea versus coffee. Drop your teams. I'm on tea for sure. Today.
I feel like tea is my go-to. It's like, I can drink it anytime during the day. Yeah. Coffee, I'm like, yeah, that's a morning thing, But I can't drink that anytime. I know G's a coffee person.
I feel like we switched today.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually coffee 24/7. Yeah. It's just, it's a tea morning.
Yeah.
I've also been trying to drink more tea in general.
Yeah. I used to just only drink tea. Like, I never had coffee. And then I was like, let me try some coffee. But,
Exactly, G. Like, I can drink coffee to put me to sleep. Like, it's just so comforting and warm.
Nope.
I can drink it, like, I will drink coffee before bed. And I will sleep like a baby. Mm-hmm. A year sober from coffee. The beet juice. It is the beet juice. Black mug. Okay, everyone got their names for coffee. That's pretty cool. I just got coffee. All right. Let us know how you're doing in the comments. Land back, Chief Amalicha.
But yeah, today we're going to be reading, we're going to be reviewing chapters 4 through 6 of Materialism and the Dialectical Method by Maurice Cornforth. Cornforth, y'all. Anyway, but chapters 4 through 6 are very interesting. They break down a lot of stuff, including, what is mechanistic materialism. So we'll be going into that. And yeah, there's some really good read that back. So I hope y'all are ready to drop them, even if they are just a sentence or two. There was a few that I was like, this would be good, but it needs more. Like it needs, if he stuck to that, it would have been great. Corn. Is it really? I would not.
The gullibleness.
Yeah. If you don't know, I'm very gullible. I believe anything. And then I'm like, oh no.
It makes it really fun.
Yeah.
It makes it really fun.
Teasing and bullying is really easy.
My rice and corn for Okay, y'all, may I see you? She got jokes.
But yeah, y'all should be liking and sharing, share into all the different, anyway, into the different, Facebook groups, tweet it out, do some live tweeting, do your read that back. Like if you have like a little, like a specific excerpt of your read that back that you like, you can use that to tweet out, hey, this is what we're reading and this is why I like it, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, make sure that y'all are liking, sharing, and subscribing.
Yep. So we're gonna get it moving. Welcome everybody into some fundraising, because y'all know that we be out here serving the people every day, and that takes resources. That takes a lot of resources. So we are continuing our Rebuild NOLA campaign, because we're going back to New Orleans, to Louisiana, southern Louisiana, to continue to help. Right, like we know that, man, this ain't no charity. It's not like here's something real quick. Bye. That's not who Black Hammer is, right? We're here to build a community, to build that self-determination, and that means we need donations, y'all. We need donations, to Cash App or Venmo, Rebuild NOLA, or just Cash App, Self-Critical, Cash App, Rebuild NOLA, to help us get the tarps, to help us get water. We're helping them set up cooling stations. Okay, Red with the $20. Who's gonna match? Because we're also gonna be teaching the importance of sanitizing from flood water. Y'all, that stuff is toxic. The stuff is really
Good stuff.
The stuff is is super toxic. And it's really detrimental to your health. A lot of people think that the casualties come like from the storm itself, but most of the casualties from natural events come afterwards, from the health contradictions. That's honestly perpetrated by the colony, right? The colony doesn't give us the information, the resources, or the infrastructure to like survive. Like the flood water causes so much bacteria, y'all, from chemicals, from waste, from all kinds of pollution, that just gets up in that water. And if you're in it, like, that's not good for you. So shout out to SG for the 5, G coming through with a 10, and 30 from Chief Oju. Lamb back.
Okay, lamb back.
Y'all,
and I appreciate Yabe for sharing 25 times.
25 times.
Woo!
Damn, okay.
That's amazing.
Who's gonna top that?
Yeah, really.
Who can do more than 25?
Who can double it? Who can do 50?
50.
Who's got 50 Facebook groups? I feel like I probably do. I think the last time I checked, I have like 30 something.
Gotta get on it.
Yeah, I do. I gotta up it. But I think sharing is really a good way of, like, if you're a little low on the funds, right? You can share to make up for that, right? Like, I can only donate 5, and maybe I wanted to do 10, but I can't right now. We're either committing class suicide or we're poor working class, right? So if you can't quite make the amount that you want to donate, then that's fine. Just make sure to share to make up for it. So,
and or join to do the work. You can't donate if you're not already a member. Because we can do more, right? We're all skilled. We're all gifted. We're all brilliant. It doesn't take any special anything to work for the people.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to NOLA.
Yeah. And appreciate you, Z Lemon, right? Lemon, yeah. For sharing 30 times. Appreciate you. Oh, and I'm so sorry. That's Sherkan. I am
self-critical.
Yes.
I'm self-critical. I messed up the name. Sherkan for the $5. Land back.
Yes, y'all. Like, all this money is gonna go to getting those sanitation kits, and even just like the simple things like water and things like that. Yeah, but make sure you keep donating so that we can go to the trivia. We can double check that y'all actually read, right? And in that trivia, y'all will see how much this section is actually really, really important. It's really good. So, yeah, let's get into it. Who read it? Let's see.
So it's so fun. In chapter 4, Cornforth speaks of not being able to separate matter from A, colonialism, B, energy, C, motion, D, all lives. So, Yabe is confident with the C coming through. Okay. G and Red. And City Builder B coming through with the C's. Are y'all copying Yabe? Because Yabe was like, I know it. I read this time. Wanted to be first. Y'all copying Yabe?
Yeah, Yabe came with the quickness.
'Cause if y'all are right, you donate or share 5 more times. If you're wrong, it's 10.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules.
We're just here telling y'all
what the rules are. Okay, Oju with the C. That was late. I feel like you were trying to see if you were gonna copy or not. I don't know.
You're like, should I copy or maybe
I
it
know.
is energy? I don't know, man.
Oh, Frederick with the confidence in a new answer.
Oh.
Okay, all these late C's coming through. Y'all
Oof.
copies. Okay, so yes, I see you.
Oh, did Frederick change their mind?
I did not mean to peer pressure you. If you're confident in the and what you chose, then stand by it.
Oh no, not Yabe saying all matter matters. All matter matters.
I'm gonna say debatable on that one.
Yeah, there's some matter that I'm like, nah, you don't matter, bro. Get out of here.
All right, can we mean teacher?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. If you didn't do the reading, that's on you.
Yeah.
You had a whole week, and it's a free PDF. Please.
Yeah, we give you all the access, all the resources.
All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Are y'all ready for it?
Yabe was right. Yabe was right.
I guess it was okay that y'all, copied that time.
For me, only the first answer counts anymore.
Really?
Because I feel like everyone just copied.
Maybe.
Or maybe the people that went like right after Yabe because they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know about Frederick Douglass.
I don't know. that one's a little shaky. I feel like okay, Oju, $5 for the right answer. C.
Yeah.
Oju follows instructions, directions. Who else is gonna follow? Sharing 5 more. Okay, Yabe sharing 5 more. G donating 5 more. Look at all of these people who pay attention.
Good job, y'all.
Did the reading and everything. Oju was late, but still. So, well, we're gonna get started, y'all. Keep donating for the people of Louisiana, Southern Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 20 groups. I see you. Keep donating, y'all. There's gonna be a while before we can fully like recover from Hurricane Ida. And we got to do everything we collectively can for the people of Southern New Orleans or Southern Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, like they weren't even fully recovered from
Katrina.
From the last few hurricanes, right? Like Katrina was like a breaking point, right, of like destruction. And then there were hurricanes that for years after that, right?
And hit after hit.
Yeah. So, we're really like trying to build a chapter so that they can rebuild themselves, right, in a way that they see like, hey, this is what we need, right? So yeah, they'll donate so that they can do that on a we can assist in them doing that, right? So let's get into our read that backs. I believe mine is first on page 43 of the book, and I believe it's like 47 of the PDF if y'all are
46.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, if y'all look, it says, thus in seeking the cause of social development and its laws, we should not see social changes as being brought about by the actions of great men who impress their superior ideas and will on the inert mass of society, nor as being brought about by accidents and external factors, but as being brought about by the development of the internal forces of society itself. And that means by the development of social forces of production. Thus, unlike the utopians, we see socialism as the result not of the dreams of reformers, but as the development of capitalist society itself, which contains within itself causes which must inevitably bring it to an end and lead to the socialist revolution. Land back. I really like this read that back. It reminds me of how we always say that this system creates its own enemy, right? That this system is like, oh, you think that, like they think that they're safe, right? Like because they are in power, right? But what they don't realize is that by the way that they're in power and by the way that they continue to be this ruling class, they are creating people like that are like, nah, we don't like this, right? And it's not, and that also reminds me of how we always say that we're just normal people. We're just normal people that want to bring about change. We're just normal people that, see the work that needs to get done and get it done. It doesn't take, the actions of great men, right, as it says in here, to make changes in your neighborhood or in society. It just takes normal people that do normal work, right, and that want to help make changes. So, yeah, I really appreciate this reading that back for that reason, and also the fact that we are the source of production. So, like, if we want to make changes, then we can do that by changing what we are working towards, right? Like we can building a dual contending power, right? Where we aren't putting all of our energy, all of our resources into, the society that we live in, into the colony. We can also do the work here that is going to change the colony, right? So yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, full unity. Like you said, we are the motion, right? We are the source of production, because nobody in the colony puts in more labor, more skilled labor. Ooh.
Sophie was like, I want to be in this too.
Jumped right on my lap. Nobody produces more labor than colonized people, right? So all of that labor, yeah, she leaped from like halfway down the hall. Oh, she's gonna be read now.
Yep.
Okay. She just wanted to say hello. Anyways, nobody produces more than colonized people. So if we first of all recognize our own power, right? If we recognize our own power, I was just staring hard. And we use that labor, right? We use that to work for ourselves, right? To use our labor for liberation of all colonized people. Then literally nothing could stop us. Mm-hmm. Nothing could stop us. It's not the petty boo. It's not the ruling class out here actually making things. It's not them who work 12, 14, 16-hour days. Hard, back-breaking labor. It's not them. That's our people. It's our people. Like, y'all saw how bad they freaked out during the pandemic when our people prioritized themselves and their health and didn't go to work. Y'all see how bad. Look at what they're doing now. Look at how hard they're pushing the vaccine. How they're making it impossible to keep your job or get a job without the jab. Like, they are scared.
I have seen so many need help signs. Like,
exactly.
Like, oh, hey, we're hiring. Like, so many ads, so many like both radio and
they're
TV
crumbling.
ads.
They're crumbling. And again, they're doing it on their own. Like, that whole concept of like the colony has created its own destruction is one of my favorite themes throughout PE. And you can see it in any revolution. You can see it in any revolutionary. There's no way that a class is so oppressive that they do not create revolutionaries. Our people continuing to work, they're fighting, they're fighters, like the craziest fighters, the strongest people you will ever meet because of the colony, just to survive. But they have that will, they have that fire. And if we just help redirect that, we would be unstoppable. We will be unstoppable. We already are. Like,
we just gotta tap into it fully.
Like, the moves we're making, y'all. The moves we're making.
Yeah, even in like the also relating this to what we're doing at the CDC, y'all. Like one tweet, well, a celebrity tweet, right, causing this whole ripple effect, right, of people are our Atlanta chapter going to the CDC and protesting there, right? And then now, like, all these people, there was a protest apparently in New York too against the whole like the mandatory, because it's becoming mandatory in New York or something. So there was thousands of people out on the street in New York protesting against this. And that was from in my head. That's like because they saw that other people were already protesting. So
it's like y'all with your trivia answers. Takes one to get the ball. It takes one to get the ball rolling.
one person does it right? They're like, oh, let me do it too.
It's safe, right? And like that's all it takes.
Mhm.
That's all it takes. You see that concept everywhere. Like in school, right? One person raises their hand, and then it's a discussion. It happens all the time, and I actually get into that in one of my read that backs later.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We do have a read that bag. Remember to drop yours. From Yabe. We can pull that up. Let's see. You might have to read this. I'm blind, y'all.
Yeah, I got it. So true, the whole is nothing apart from and independent of its parts, but the mutual relations which the part enter into in constituting the whole modify their own properties so that while it may be said the whole is determined by here, I need to scroll down very quick. Okay. So that while it may be said the whole is determined by the parts, it may equally be said, keep moving. It may equally be said that the part are determined by the whole. Yeah, this is actually one of our read that backs, so we'll get into it a little bit more in that part. But yes, love it. Perfect. Beautiful.
So much to be said.
Yes, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But let me see.
Page 43.
Page 43 is another one. That was actually right before mine, the one that I just read. So I can even just add on to the first beginning part. So in studying the cause of change, we should not merely seek for external causes of change, but should above all seek for the source of the change within the process itself, in its own self-movement, in the inner impulses of development contained within things themselves. Yes, getting to the root, right? Like it's not just, this happened because it happened. Like, like maybe like some external force made it happen. It's like, this could happen because of something that's happening internally, right? Just like, with a lot of social movements start that way. It's not necessarily like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, it's not like, this happened. It's like, this has been happening and people are angry about it, right? And so this was just the spark that got it to happen,
It's the breaking continuity
that
we get into later.
Ooh, so true, yeah. A lot of this does build on each other. So
yeah,
this is exciting.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I will read Amalechas. Okay. From page 47. All right. Dialectical materialism considers that in the manifold processes taking place in the universe, things come into being, change, and pass out of being, not as separate individual units, but in essential relation and interconnection, so that they cannot be understood each separately by itself, but only in relation and interconnection. Yeah, full unity. Yes, I do like this one too. I actually highlighted this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually anyway. No, full unity. This I think for me comes into like who we are as people, right? As revolutionaries, right? We're all our individual people. We're all our own person. We all have our own likes and dislikes and ways of being. But when we come into the collective, we are part of that collective, right? And the collective can be understood with its own ways of being, its own likes and dislikes. And just as much as the collective adds to who we are as people, we add to who the collective is as well, right? Obviously keeping our principles and our theory and our goals at the center, and the masses first and foremost, the masses at the center. But like when we have our rallies, when we have our chapters, right? They're all independent, separate parts that make up this one big, amazing, beautiful vanguard organization. But yeah, I think that leads us into my read that back, since it's very similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on page 47. So it says, true, the whole is nothing apart from and independent of its parts, but the mutual relations which the parts enter into constituting the whole modify their own properties. So while it may be said that the whole is determined by the parts, it may equally be said that the parts are determined by the whole. Which basically I was saying, right? As us as revolutionaries. But this also, for me, or for us, ties into the four principles of unity, right? Each one is powerful. Each one is incredibly powerful and important. But you got to have all four. You have to have all four to complete the whole theory, to complete the whole
picture.
Yeah. Because you can have, like we each, like I said, each principle of unity answers a question. It answers the question, right? What do we want? Dictatorship over our lives, lands, labor, and resources. Who do we want it for? All colonized people. Why do we need to fight for it? Because colonialism is the root. And how are we going to get it? Through the leadership of colonized people, right? You need all four to answer the complete question, because we can't do it. And that's why we fight so hard to make sure that our principles of unity are upheld, right, and defended and followed. Because or else what? We just have people who don't fully unite with what we're trying to do, and that's a hindrance, and that's an attack on what we want and what we like, our own dictatorship, right?
Yeah, and I really unite with that. That was also my note in there in that section too. I think for me, I just thought of this as well, is that it's also in a sense like democratic centralism, right? Because it's like we, as like we're all parts, right? So the more you raise criticisms, the more just like being active and participating in here, right? You are becoming a part of the organization and informing the organization of how it needs to move, right? And also at the same time, the whole is going to inform you whether or not that aligns with the four principles. You know what I mean? Like we move together, right? We inform each other. So it's not just the parts make up the whole. It's the whole make up the parts as well. And I think that that we do that as an organization so well, of just working together to inform each other of what we need to do as one section of the organization, Ministry of People's Affairs, can inform, hey, Agitprop, there's a hurricane, there's this happening. Can we put some information out on that, right? That is it's communication at its finest, right? It's communication and information working together at its finest. So, yeah, I really appreciate this part too, and that not even thinking in that type of sense of organizationally how the organization works to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to have their voice heard, and has the opportunity to also learn themselves, right, of how we move and why we move the way we move, right? So yeah, and definitely I wanted to say too, Sharkan, that we will be getting to metaphysics. That was an interesting chapter, to say the least. I was like, oh goodness, I saw the title, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. But it's a good one though. I really like it. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting into that in a little bit. But yeah, I really appreciate that. Read that back as well. So
but yeah, have y'all been saying in the comments, right? The interconnectivity. God, these words.
Interconnection.
It messed me up.
Yeah.
The interconnection is vital to what we do. And I think another part that for me, that what it does for us personally, right? It changes who we are as people, as it should, right? We develop through criticism, we develop through self-criticism. And that is the whole informing us of what we can do better to be better servants of the masses. And you should be changing. You should be evolving as a person. You should be developing. If I'm not the same person. Good. Because we all came in here with mad contradictions. We all still have contradictions we're working through.
And it's not our contradictions per se. It's the contradictions that the colony has literally continually reinforced, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like we have to make that conscious choice to overturn them.
Mm-hmm.
And even because it's so embedded in us from the colony, we don't always have the insight to even know what they are. That's why we rely on criticism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get through PE, as you internalize things, like self-criticism becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything changes all the time. Like Chief O just said, our bodies change while we sleep. We were talking about this yesterday. But no, exactly. And like that's why in the earlier chapters, like the mechanistic materialism, that's why it's such BS, right? Because it literally takes it as like, here's how it starts from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing will ever change. It's just a machine. It will run on its perfect little cycle all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing can change it.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, the fact that was even a consideration just yells galleta to me. Because they just.
I mean, there were some people that said that they didn't even believe. They thought that it was all sensory. Remember?
Yeah,
they thought the Matrix was actually a thing.
Like everyone had a different version of the world in their head because matter was not real. Like galleta AF, y'all. Like.
There are multiple times that I have galleta written on the side.
So
throughout
true.
the chapters.
Oh,
It's like, that's a galleta thing.
We highlight things and be like galletas. Because you got to remember, a galleta wrote this book. But I do want to get into Sher Khan's read that back from this chapter really quick. So capitalistic science can go no further. Here it ends, since capitalist science cannot completed contemplate the ending of capitalism, but socialist science shows that man himself is about to embark on a new phase of evolution, communist society, in which the whole process will be brought under his own conscious planned direction. Period. So, but the thing with this is like they're talking still about the YouTube people, you know. They still think that the ruling class is gonna be in charge. That's the thing with when you read theory, when you read these things, you have to really look at who is writing it, right? Because to them, they still want to be the ones in charge of this planned direction. They still want to be the ones to dictate what happens with the world, what happens with society, and that's why we're here. Oju says que es una galleta.
You might need to do some Google
Translate just galleta to English. Because I know
when your stomach's upset, you tend to eat, some saltines. So that's kind of similar to a galleta, Yeah, G's got it. If you're on YouTube, the YouTube people,
I know, yeah, that's the hard part with the translations is that depending on like literally what kind of Spanish you learned, it translates differently. But I mean, it could be a I don't know.
Yeah, saltines,
harina, whatever. Like porque hasta secos están, Harina is flour, y'all. I said because it's dry, dusty, and they get everywhere, and it's annoying.
Yes, so, Rose got it.
Exactly, a Ritz. Oh my God. Period. I know it's like I said, the translation was hard.
Yeah,
the translation was hard. If y'all have other translations, let me know. But yeah,
remember y'all to keep liking and sharing so that other people can learn what galleta is. So that other people can, kind of pick up on the little things that we're dropping here.
Oh, you know what else was like super galleta? Really quick. It says the higher, more complex form of motion cannot exist without the lower, simpler form. But that is not to say it can be reduced to that simpler form. This just really, so, I mean, that's a powerful sentence, honestly. To me, so that's saying like everything that is complex can be reduced to like a single, like a simple sentence, right? And for me, like what we were talking about, I don't know why this. I just like my brain. People like it, to me that ties into the whole. I just lost my entire train of thought. Anyway, colonialism, complicated, complicated, right? And honestly, the way we learn about it, I don't know if y'all, my school system, or the school system, do y'all learn what the 3 Gs are? The 3 Gs, trivia part 2. So drop if you know what the 3 Gs are.
I did not know what the 3 Gs were. the 3 Gs. I did not know what the 3 Gs were. Sorry, that's gonna be hard for me. Anyway, the triple Gs. I did not know what that was. I was like, are there 3 Gs in the organization? Like, I was very confused for a hot sec. But nah, I did not know until we started talking about it, and I was like, what? What is that?
So when you learn about like Western expansion, or what do they call it, settlements or whatever, colonialism. A big question is like why, right? Why do we do this?
Why did that happen?
Yes, the 3 Gs. But the 3 Gs are God, gold, and glory. Oh, look at Oju coming through. Lamb back, Chief Ire. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. So the 3 Gs are God, gold, and glory. So those were like that's how they justified colonialism, right? They wanted to expand their version of God, right? Their version of whatever that is. So they wanted to bring it to the whole world, right? So noble, so noble.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm. Okay. Some people be like, what?
No.
Glory. They just wanted to be the ones to discover a new continent, new land, right?
Like, oh, this is mine now.
Yeah,
I did this.
Exactly.
I conquered the West. Like Lewis and Clark.
And what was the other one? Gold, obviously.
Yeah.
Gold.
Money. You know?
Greedy. Anyway. MFers. So that's what this is trying to do, right? But it also can be translated into something a lot more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Material. Thank you. Something a lot more material, right? I don't know if y'all know who Carmelita Torres is. Or honestly, let's look at what we're doing. Carmelita Torres. Okay. My brain is all over the place, y'all. Carmelita Torres was just a young person.
Teenager,
yeah, like young adult-ish. Like the age varies depending on your source. But I don't know if y'all knew, and I forget what years it was, but it was after the Mexican-American War, where like America established its border, right? And the whole like northern part of Mexico got cut off, like what we call California, and like that whole area. But the U.S. was so kind and gracious and still let migrant workers come and work on their own farms, right? But there was this governor, I believe in Arizona, who was, just una galleta.
Yeah.
Who thought that indigenous people, because of the color of our skin, we were just dirty, right? And this was like when typhoid was really big, like typhoid fever or whatever. And so in order to make sure that the country was safe from dirty people, right? They implemented baths, chemical baths. So migrant workers, before crossing the border to work, they were put into like this big cage basically, and they were doused in gasoline and pesticide and whatever was available, right? And if they thought that if you had anything that resembled lice or anything on any part of your body, they made you shave, whatever part. Late 50s, like it was not that long ago, y'all. And obviously, like chemical baths come with so many health complications, right? Like indescribable, just pain and complications. And Carmelita Torres was just a young person who said no, was just like, nah, I'm out, like, can't do this, like, I will not get in. And that started the bath riots, y'all. That, like, just that one person, right? The bath riots are this complicated movement, right? Which, like, ignited again in people the will and the hope that they could make change for themselves. And it started, if you want to, like, reduce that to, like, a smaller thing, right? It was Carmelita Torres who said no. But even then, like, even this theory is wrong because it's so much more than that. Why did the bath riots start to begin with? Why did the Mexican-American War start to begin with? What is Mexico? What is America? How did we get here? Colonialism, right? So technically, we do practice this. Because all complications stem down to colonialism, right? But that's it. Period. Sorry, that was like a random tangent of thought. It was a part that I really liked in this book because it can be applied to basically anything. And like our third principle of unity says, it all stems down to colonialism. But with that, we will move it to fundraising because what we're doing is complicated and it takes a lot of small movements, right? A lot of small parts to the whole. And each small part is $1. So it's $1. So if you can give $1 to contribute to the whole that we're trying to build, which is Southern Louisiana, that's all. Then continue donating and sharing and liking and commenting. The more people see this, the more that our work gets out there, the more that people believe that they can do this too. Because y'all, we ain't special. None of us are special. We're just people who want to contribute to the whole.
100%. And also, like, before this, I never thought that I would be doing anything like this. Like, I was on my way to being a sellout. So, like, even if you are like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this or whatever, like, you know, first of all, donate because we're helping people materially, right? We're helping people who are, you know, need tarps on their roofs, right? So even just materially, like, if you see that, then why hesitate, right? And then also, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to join, like, talk to us. Literally just, like, ask your questions. Like, that's the thing that I had the privilege of doing, is just, like, being able to, like, have a conversation with people, right? And really build that relationship. And I think that that's, like, really important as well. And doing that, like, while you're donating, even more beautiful, right? Like, you can ask questions in these comments. Be like, hey, like, I don't know how I felt about this, you know? And we will answer. So, but yeah, donating so that we can make sure that we're serving the people every freaking weekend. We go out and, you know, give out masks and things like that in all the chapters. But even for NOLA specifically, right, for Southern Louisiana, we're going into the places where there aren't, they have, like, like, you know, the government is trying to help with these resource distribution centers or whatever. But they're so concentrated in, like, the touristy white areas, like the areas that are like, oh, like, this is where like Mardi Gras is, so we need to rebuild it fast, right? So they're so concentrated in those areas and not in the areas where, like, colonized people live, where colonized people are still, like, not, you know, without running water, without power, without, you know, like, roofs over their head that actually will keep them dry when these storms, because there's still storms coming through, right? Nicholas just passed, right? Yeah, exactly. No. So QC, we're rebuilding so that the people, right, we're giving them some resources, but we're also giving them, like, lessons. We're also giving them, you know, like, how to have your own cooling station, right? Like, it's not just, oh yeah, here's, like, you know, here's some water for you, right? Not a glass, but here's some water for you. You good? All right, great. You're going to be good for, like, a day or two. And that's it. right? It's also like, hey, this is where you can get water. This is where how you can stay cool in this humid heat, because humid heat is also really deadly too. Like it causes a lot of heat strokes and heat illnesses, right? So learning like, hey, you can stay cool in this, that, and the other way, right? And same thing with, even like putting tarps on and things like that. Like just people having some tips on like how to do it safely, right? Because you're gonna be up high.
We're giving them the trainings, right? We're training members of the community on how to set up whole cooling stations, how to clean up after a flood, how to administer first aid, and then they will go and teach the rest of the community, and that community will go out and teach the next community, right? Like we're giving them the tools to build for themselves, right? We are just trying to be the catalyst, right? And yeah, that does mean providing material relief while we're there. Of course it does. But yeah, thank you for that question, QC, and thank you for donating. Donating $10, making that material difference, right? Making sure that we can be there for the people. And then Landback and salute Chief Oju for the extra $5, and Amalicha $5 as well. Like we want to make sure that they are different when we leave, that they have the drive and the confidence to do it themselves, right? Like we can. Y'all, the way that this colony strips our people of like
confidence,
the belief in themselves and the belief in each other, the belief in unity, in colonized unity, and like doing that is just it's step one. It's step one, right? Building a chapter there is going to make sure that we can continue to build for the people of Southern Louisiana.
Ooh, okay. CIC coming in with $20, love it, and City Builder B coming in with 50, love it. Land back, and yeah, we're bringing them revolution, right? Like we're bringing them like, hey, like this does not have to be a reality. This does not have to be the way it is, right? And that's also something that we kind of go into here is like just accepting things because that's how it is, right? This is just how it's supposed to be. Is something that we'll get into actually next. In chapter, I just pulled a blank, 5.
Yeah.
Like what number are we on?
But real quick, who's gonna match CAC, y'all?
Yeah.
CAC donated $20. G matching CIC real quick. All right, I see you. CIC running the whole Vanguard and still donating $20.
Yeah.
And we know she out here sharing too. And in these comments, where are y'all at? The whole commander in chief is out here. Where are you?
Yeah, for real, QC with the charity tourists, like there are people who are like, oh yeah, I want to go to NOLA so I can help, and then they're like spend 20 minutes just like walking around downtown, like, oh, not 20 minutes, but like most of their time is literally just looking around to see like, oh yeah, this is such a cool place, right? Like, oh yeah, I've been to NOLA, like I went there to help. And then they're like, oh, this is so cute. You know what I mean? Like they're not there to help. They're there for their own
pictures for the gram.
Yeah, pictures for the gram.
Like,
exactly that.
We've been trying to find resources, local resources for the people, right? And that has been so difficult. But we like looked at the volunteer, like the we need volunteer pages, and there's so many listings of like opportunities to go and volunteer, but none of those are reaching the masses. None of those are reaching the poor and working class people of Southern Louisiana. So that's who we're building with. So continue to donate, continue to like and comment and share and all of the things. And we will continue.
Keep it pushing. Yeah, my next read that back is on page 52. If you all want to flip over, that's in the actual book. I think it's 55 in the PDF. But it goes from a second defect in the evolutionary ideas of most bourgeoisie thinkers is that they regard the process of evolution as a smooth, continuous, and unbroken process. They see the process of transition from one evolutionary stage to another as taking place through a series of gradations, without conflict and without any break in continuity. There we go. But continuity is not the law of development. On the contrary, periods of smooth, continuous evolutionary development are interrupted by sudden and abrupt changes. The emergence of the new stage in development takes place when the conditions for it have matured, by a break in continuity, by the leap from one state to another. Y'all, I love this because to me, this is about the liberals that are like, oh, I can make changes in this government. I can do this, right? I can become a governor of, this city, and I can make changes here. And then I can, that will make changes in other places because people will see, right? It's like, nah, dude, this stuff is literally built off of people's lives. This is literally like people are dying every single day. You think that this is going to be smooth? You think this is going to be easy? You think this is going to be like Mao's dinner party, like the Mao's PE, right?
Revolution is not a dinner party.
Yeah, revolution is not a dinner party, right? It's not comfortable. It's revolution. How do you think that revolution is gonna be? I don't even.
They were mean to me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, the criticism hurt.
I got yelled at.
My feelings. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, but yeah, this, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna hurt on the inside. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna struggle. Like your body is also gonna struggle, right? Like it's not like, oh, I get to freaking, I don't know, eat sushi every day while I'm doing revolution.
Like something,
or order out every day.
Yeah.
Order freaking DoorDash every single day, right?
Something I used to tell my students, my elementary school students, was like, they're growing pains, and it's like these grown adults can't handle growing pains, y'all. Like, we're supposed to get free and be comfortable. We're supposed to get free and sleep 8 hours a day. We're supposed to please.
Yeah.
Please.
You're gonna struggle, but it's gonna be worth it. And it's gonna be so, like, I don't know. Every time I have a little, any kind of struggle, I'm like, damn, I need some sleep, right? I'm like, nah, I can finish this. No, I can do this. And it's because I love the work we do. Like every time, I'm like, oh, I want to do this, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example.
For me, it's that, and also our people are tired too, bro.
Yeah,
our people are tired. They're exhausted. They're sick.
Mm-hmm.
They are barely surviving.
Mm-hmm.
But you're sad because you couldn't hang out with your friends. Like, you're sad because you couldn't order out to eat as much as you want. You're sad because you got yelled at. You're sad because what?
Mm-hmm.
And that's your problem. Our people are tired of working 16-hour days. Our people are tired of putting their lives on the line during this pandemic because ain't nobody listening. Because no one's telling them, no one but us, to wear K95. No one but us is giving out K95 for free.
Mm-hmm.
Our people are tired too, and if that doesn't push you, then you were never here for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. Like, it's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's not about your comfortability. It's not about how this makes you look. It's not about making sure that you're in the history books. It's about our people.
Mm-hmm.
Period. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's not about any one person. No one person is bigger than what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. No one person. I don't care who they are to you.
Mm-hmm.
No one person is bigger.
Yeah, exactly. QC too. Like, every bit of news highlighting our people's struggle has to push ourselves forward. Like, it's not, Texas, not having or criminalizing abortion, right? That should push us forward. It's like, okay, that's literally an attack on our dictatorship over our lives. That is related to our 4 principles of unity. So that means that I need to work harder so that everyone is aware of our 4 principles of unity and can get in here where they won't have to have that. We can organize around that, right? Like, we can organize around whatever, bullcrap type of law that is, right? And Yeah, and then the same thing with the 40,000 people that have died from the jab, and when we aren't willing to inform our people, like, or people are still buying into the jab.
Right.
People still believing that this system is actually trustworthy, this medical system at that, this big pharma, y'all are really like, oh yeah, let's believe in that, even though big pharma has done so much against, like, anybody who has spoken out against big pharma, right, like has done anything to organize or to expose it, right, for what the evils that it's done or the evil that it is, has gotten hurt or has disappeared.
Yeah, like which one of these companies, I think, I can't remember the name, but one of them got sued because they were doing experimental trials like in Africa on children, right?
Yeah.
And hundreds of children
Pfizer.
were murdered. And they got sued, and they were like, they settled, right? They settled. And so now when they have contracts, part of the contract is you can't sue us if something goes wrong.
And if you do, then we'll take your government buildings.
Exactly.
Like in the contract, it says, oh, basically as collateral, if you try to sue us or if there are side effects or whatever, and you try to like speak out against it, do anything like that, then we'll take your government buildings as collateral. Like until, like it's like when they were distributing the vaccine, right? They were like, oh, here you go. Like you want to buy this from us? And then they said, oh, but if you do, then you can't do anything about it. And same here in the, in the snakes. Like if you try to say, like, basically they passed a law that says that you literally can't like sue the company. You don't have any legal standing to sue the company if you have side effects from this vaccine.
It's like, dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what did Red say again too?
Yeah, Red's been dropping fire, honestly.
As always. Revolution is not violent. Revolution is not violent because there is bloodshed. It is violent because it literally pulls a new world out of the old and destroys the old. Exactly. We are building a new world, y'all. And it does touch everybody. It touches every living thing. We literally do not know who we will be after revolution because our old selves will be destroyed and reborn in their entirety. Yes. Yep. And that's the growing pains, right? Like we are literally rebuilding ourselves, shedding the colony from our minds, from our bodies to build a revolutionary self. And that's powerful, y'all. Like that's so powerful. Oh, goodness. But yeah, that was my read that back. Just making like really internalizing that we're gonna be struggling. But the struggle is a beautiful one and it's a worthy one, right? Because who better deserves it than our people, right? Like our people are struggling every day to survive. We should be struggling to serve them, right? Period. If we want to make changes, that's how it will be done. So
brings me back to
yours.
my read that back. So page 53. Okay. I have to like double check because I highlight so much. Page 53 of the book, page 56 in the PDF. So it says this
Off to a great start.
Starting over. English is dumb. I'm colonized. Let me know. This prejudice in favor of a smooth line of evolution has gone hand in hand with the liberal belief that capitalist society will evolve smoothly through orderly bourgeoisie progress, broadening down from precedent to precedent, as Tennyson, whatever, once expressed it. To have thought differently about evolution in general would have implied that we would have to think differently about social evolution in particular. This kind of just literally builds off of that one, right? That same the petty boo want that smoothness in evolution, but their version of evolution is just further oppression of colonized people, because they just want more, right? It's the three G's. It's three G's. They want more glory. They want more gold. I don't know where they stand on the other one anymore. I don't keep up. but they want more, right? And like this chapter really talks about that break in continuity, right? And for me, like the part that this just like solidified for me, like we are that break in continuity. We are that break. We are that sudden. What is it called?
We're that girl.
Well, yeah,
We're just doing the
well,
we're doing the thing, you know.
Okay. But like we just talked about it. Like anyway, that break of continuity. We're the catalyst, right? We're that break. We're that
Spark.
that spark. That's the word that you said earlier.
Okay.
That spark that really sets things going, right? And we are fighting the petty booze idea of what revolution or evolution, right? Development, progress is supposed to look like. Because even through like this, even though this is written by a galleta, it still like is against the like the bourgeoisie galletas, right? Because I don't know, poor white people think they're different. But like I don't know who told them that. It's that freaking Matrix thing. They really believe it. They really believe it. It's not material. Because when we look at it materially, we understand that Ayeta cannot be the catalyst. The revolution for liberation of all people can only be led by colonized people or working class colonized people. And yeah, like you said, we're the only ones who can be that spark. Exactly, because we're the only ones who feel the weight of it. We're the only ones who feel the weight, that boot on our neck. Like our people are struggling to breathe, right? And so like this, the way that we're doing that break is for what we're doing at the CDC, right? What we're doing for New Orleans, like we are setting the precedent. Y'all, we are setting that precedent. We, like Minister Ben said, are that girl who is showing what can be done. And we're constantly, like, here's the thing, y'all, we don't compete against anybody but ourselves. When we meet, it
Sophie is acting.
Our cat found a like lint ball or something. But she just ran into the chair. Oh Jesus. Okay. Sorry y'all. Get cats. They're really fun.
Very, very, very erratic.
But like what I was saying, like we are fighting to not just like we are that. It's our cat. You're so right.
Yes. It's the collective cat.
Collective cat. Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying. We're changing it. We're changing the waves. We're changing the current, right? We're fighting the CDC. And well, yes, it was started by, or we're building off of this tweet, right? By Nicki Minaj. But that's not by any means the beginning of our work. We started this at the very beginning of the pandemic. We've been out sciencing the CDC from the start, right? We said KN95s at the beginning of the pandemic. They still haven't said KN95s. They're barely saying cloth masks. Cloth masks, they're like, please, it's woven fabric, y'all. The particle, the SARS-CoV-2 particle is like about 1 micron. That's the measurement. Is 1 micron big. All woven fabric, all of the porosity in woven fabric is bigger than that.
Right, like it's like an eighth of a centimeter.
Yeah, like
it's like hundreds.
It's
like multiple times
bigger than that particle, right? Yeah. And like KN95s they protect for smaller, for 0.3 microns. That's just material science, y'all. That's just material science. You can look it up. It's on any manufacturing like the stats and things like that. Yeah, like we're setting that precedent. We're being that spark, and not just the spark, but we're making sure that it catches fire. Make sure that spark breadth. And that's what we're doing, right? We have, like it says, to have thought differently about evolution in general would have implied that we would have to think differently about social evolution in particular. And the petty boo won't do that. The petty boo does not want to think about a change in power. So how can anything that they provide, anything that they do, be correct, including theory? That's why we throw the middle finger up at Marx and Lenin, right? Because galletas either way, their point of view is galleta based. It is for galletas in general.
Yeah, and also just thinking about they were so they're the basis of their theory is the ones who are most oppressed, but they think that they're the most oppressed. That's the problem. Is they are the ones who are most oppressed are the ones that will bring about revolution and will make the changes that is needed.
They were right,
and they are right in that fact, but they're wrong in the fact that they think that means it's them, poor working class, the white whipping class, right? And it's not them, it's us. It's poor working class colonized people who are the people who are literally pushing out production, who are the people who literally run the world, honestly. We literally are the one, part of every mode of production in the entirety of the world.
Someone said it earlier, our people make the world go round, right?
Yeah. And that actually is a really good way to get into my next Read That Back in chapter 6, if you want to get into that. But drop some more Read That Backs if you have some. I think that'd be great. But the next part is if you want to, sorry. There we go. I marked off the wrong page. But on page 59 of the book, or 62, if I'm doing my maths correctly, of the PDF. But it's at the very top. It says, if we want to understand democracy, we have always to ask, democracy for whom? For the exploiters or the exploited? We have to understand that since democracy is a form of government, there is no democracy which is not associated with the rule of some particular class, and that the democracy which is established when the working class is the ruling class is a higher form of democracy than capitalist democracy. Just as capitalist democracy is a higher form of democracy than the slave owners' democracy of ancient Greece. In other words, we should not try to think of democracy in abstraction from real social relations and from the real change in the development of society. Yes. We have, quote unquote, technically, we have democracy in the States. But as it says here, democracy for whomst? Not for me, not for y'all. That is not the material fact. Just the thought of who is ruling right now, right? Who is in charge? Who is actually doing making the calling the shots, right? That is not us. Even if this government was not built off of our genocide somehow, right? Even if it wasn't built, the way that the system is, our voices are never heard. We can't even protest without getting shot at, without getting being called riots, right? And that is a part of democracy. That is a part of our freedom of speech. But if it is a white whipping class person who is protesting, it's fine. They have a permit. They're allowed to. Versus, if we as colonized people are protesting against, hey, this is, someone died, someone got killed, a kid got killed. They're nah, you can't do that. That's you're destructing property.
But their freaking sports events, get so much crazier than any cry for any pain, cry of pain that we have for our people, you know?
Yeah, or even just simple things as celebrations. An Irish celebration gets more whatever, it gets more property damage. People probably die from getting drunk. All these things, right? Versus, and they're allowed to be downtown versus, a like a Mexican or indigenous like celebration.
They shut down.
They shut down everything for that. They're like, nah, like we want to block off the roads if you're gonna be trying to have that kind of celebration because that's too destructive. They try to keep that contained versus an Irish event that could be, all wild now. But yeah, anyway,
I'm gonna read Red's comment.
Yeah.
It took Europe 100 years to come to a conclusion that Haitians taught us through their successful revolution, and it took those colonizers another 50 years to make revolution happen.
Mm-hmm.
Slow students. They did not read the assigned chapters. They're slow. No, absolutely. And like the thing is like with galletas and like the way that they practice democracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is very metaphysical. Metaphysical is just a different word for another theory they talked about earlier in the book. It's so dumb. But like metaphysics is like thinking about things in the abstract, right? Or like what's the word? And in abstraction to the whole.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that like they really it's just abstract thinking, which for me is hard because I don't have internet.
Yeah, from metaphysical like theory or whatever, the way I've been internalizing is that things are just the way that they are. Like it is just like, oh, I was born poor, so I can't make changes in the world because I don't have the power, right? Like this is just how it is. Like it's just very like, oh, this is just how it is, right? And in a way, to me, like when I first read it, it was like very like black and white. Like, oh, like this is how that is, and this is how this is, and those things don't interact with each other.
Exactly.
Like I am, like even when I was growing up, right? Like for me personally, I was starting to be labeled as like, the sporty one, right? And then my sister was labeled the intellectual one. But like, and in my head as a kid, I kept those things separate. Like that meant that I could not be intellectual because that meant, that would mean that we were crossing boundaries of like, categories, right? So that's what metaphysics is like, oh, this is who I am, or this is how it is. I can't cross boundaries into whatever this is because that is how it is over here, and those things don't relate to each other.
They have a pretty good example here.
Yeah.
It says, for example, if we say that men have two legs, we are thinking of the two-leggedness of men in abstraction or separation from their other properties, such as having a head, two arms, and so on. And similarly, we are thinking of all men in general, disregarding the individuality of particular men. So yeah, that's basically it.
Or like there's another example of like of a platypus. Like mammals aren't supposed to lay eggs, right? Like that's a bird thing. And then it's like, oh nope, there's a platypus though. Like
homies must have been tripping.
You're like, oh my goodness, this is wild.
That's why all these galletas, like who wrote theory, ended up just all of them running away to the woods, bro, because they saw a freaking animal that contradicted their whole theory.
Dude, this is all wrong.
And they lost it because they don't know how to be critical and self-critical.
Yeah. Platypus realness. Yep.
We are the platypus to the colony, bro.
Yeah.
That's all.
But yeah, literally, like they were just so confused by that. Like they were like, nah, that's not how that's supposed to work. Mammals aren't supposed to lay eggs, and they were like, oh, but evolution. That's when evolution became a thing, apparently. For the whites.
Platypus realness.
Oh goodness. Oh, God. But yeah, that's basically metaphysics. It's like just like categories, putting things into like, this is rich people are rich because that's the way it is, and poor people are poor because of that, or like white people are supposed to be rich because whatever, I don't know, colonialism. But and then
when in doubt, colonialism.
Yeah, exactly. Literally just. But yeah, and like Red said too, metaphysics is your investigation and begins and ends with the thoughts in your head. Exactly. It's very similar to the Matrix thing.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why I was like, this is literally chapter 3. Like, okay. Oh, we have a read that back. Yeah, continue to read that back, Scale. From Yabe. This one makes me think about how each of our offices contributes to other offices. Agitprop supports economic development. MPA supports grounds, etc. So this is the quote. When we oppose the dialectical method to metaphysics, then we show up the inadequacy, one-sidedness, or falsity of the abstraction of metaphysics. Full unity, period. I'm back. That's a great read that back. It's short and it really gets to the point, right? Where exactly, like if someone wanted to look at Black Hammer in a metaphysical way, they would just pick an office, right? Pick an office. We'll do ours, MPA, and then they can easily figure out what's wrong. If all they see of Black Hammer is MPA, which I mean we do amazing work, if I do say so myself, you know. But we, you know, and it's like, oh, they don't put out posts. Oh, they don't do things on the ground. Oh, they don't do this. They don't do that. They blah, 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 blah. Here are all the criticisms we have. And that's a very metaphysical way of looking at Black Hammer, is just through one office. And honestly, that's what most of these sellouts did, because they never did anything outside of their own, barely that, within their own office, right? Like that's their own view of the whole organization. But when you look at Black Hammer dialectically and materially, you see exactly what Yabe pointed out, right? Yeah, we'd be bugging everyone at other offices.
We're probably the most annoying office. Honestly.
Good. I will
like,
annoy people for the revolution. I don't care. You know, it's like I will check in with you every day to make sure that we're moving, right? Hey, can we get this post out?
Yeah, exactly, Oju. Like looking at the entirety of it, right? Like the entirety of the organization, not just like the parts of the whole, right? Like we were talking about earlier in chapter 4, right? Like it's not just the parts of something informing the whole, it's the whole informing the parts. So if you're just criticizing one section of the whole, one part of it, then that's not, oh, there's Sophie, my baby.
Our baby.
Okay. Sorry. Our baby. But she's my baby. She's been my baby the longest. Anyway, but yeah, like, but yeah, you know, seeing the forest is informing us how to move, right? And we're also one part of this society, right? Like even thinking even larger scale. Like that's the cool thing about, you know, dialectical materialism. You can think of it in multiple ways, as small, right? And that's it. To me, I'm like kind of geeking out in a science way because I'm a science nerd. I think of it even in like a genetics way, like because I love genetics. Like the little parts that make up like DNA, right? Inform DNA, what it is going to inform the body, right? And and then the body also informs how the DNA can possibly change, because DNA does change, y'all. I don't know if you know that, but anyways, but yeah, basically like thinking of it as a whole, but also the parts. Like it's not just in a, like the whole is the bigger picture, right? And it should be the main thing that you are criticizing versus the parts of the whole. So, yeah. Land back, Chief of Moxley.
Land back, Moxley.
I miss you.
You have a beautiful morning.
Yeah. But yeah, land back. This is a really great section of this book. We're gonna keep it pushing into announcements. And announcements are gonna be great because there's so many things in this organization that we're doing. You know, from all the different offices. You know, because like we said earlier, we are that girl. And yes, so we have our Tuesday rally every single week on Tuesday at 7:00 Eastern. We have a beautiful rally where we just lay out what we're doing in the organization, right? So make sure that you all are tuning in online and coming through.
Get the updates.
Yes.
Because we be moving.
Yeah.
Making moves.
Exactly.
And it's on YouTube Live. And if you follow any of our Twitter accounts, or any of our social medias, we'll be dropping the link. So you can tune in and get the news. If you're a hater, you can come to be mad.
Yeah, be mad about the work that we do.
Be mad.
Be a little jealous. It's okay. We did
and
it.
Like we were talking about earlier, right? How like Saltines have a different view of the world, right? If you're for sure that you're not one of those, then join the reparations court. Do it materially, right? Materially make a difference. Materially cut yourself off from the colony, and work towards the liberation of colonized people, because ultimately that will be the world's liberation. Like, that's the thing. Y'all think you won't benefit from this, but like we're trying to save the planet.
And we're also trying to save your humanity. Like,
or reinstate it.
Yeah, reinstate it. Like, y'all have lost a lot. Like, are you like, you have to relearn a lot of things.
Y'all be saying stuff.
I mean, we, as colonized people, we have to relearn a lot of things too, because we took things from the colony, right? We, y'all have like repeatedly impressed upon us all kinds of ways of thinking that are incorrect and that have stripped us of parts of our humanity. And by joining the revolution, we are regaining that, right? We're rebuilding that. But for y'all, it's a whole nother level. So one of the ways that you can help us build the revolution and also regain your humanity is through the Rep Corps, where you'll get, a lot of political education, really internalizing the impact that you've had on colonized people, the erasure that you've done, and also learning how to organize, because y'all really do not know how to do that very well.
Messy.
Like,
messy.
You're just like, all the time. Like, I feel like y'all are just screaming all the time. I'm like, please calm down. Really, like
y'all made it.
Like, y'all are okay. Like, please.
Like, it's your own fault. And we could go on. And if you want to be a part of putting together these amazing shows, and also making sure that all of the news does get to our people, right? This life-saving information that gets out. Join Agitation Propaganda. We also have a bunch of stuff that you can do, right? Like, we need designers. Wow, we throw a lot of graphics. We need people like who are willing to film, who are willing to like talk to the press, things like that. Like Agitation Propaganda. If you're a singer, for real, we need new jingles, y'all, and we need, like, it just. Agitation propaganda is the way that we reach our people, and it cannot be understated.
Yeah, and it's also a great way of putting out political education. Like, all the different ways that, like, we reach the people is through music, is through these graphics, is through, these shows, and that's what agitation propaganda is all about, is like politically educating in many different ways, right? So that people can internalize what we're trying to do, right? So, hit them up. Yes, and then next week, y'all, this book, we're going to be learning a lot more. So make sure that y'all are reading chapters 7 through 9, so that y'all can drop them, read that back. I really appreciate everyone who dropped the read that back today. Shout out to Yabe. I'm pretty sure you had like 2 or 3. So that was
and
beautiful.
was the first to answer the trivia.
Yeah, and all right, golden star for Yabe. Love it.
And been sharing consistently.
Yes. Beautiful. But yeah, so make sure that next week y'all can be like Yabe. Y'all can maybe even be better than Yabe. Ooh. Do I dare say it? Maybe.
I think Yabe's gonna compete with herself, bro.
Oh, so true. Yeah.
So if you can out Yabe,
ooh.
I don't know. Who's gonna be first to answer trivia?
Oh, so true. So yeah, make sure that y'all are reading. I don't know. Yeah, and if you're the first, you're still gonna be able to donate. So
you still get to provide $5 or 5 shares for the revolution.
Yeah.
And if you have not been reading and just been copping answers, you can find this book in our library on our brand spanking new looking website.
So beautiful.
blackhammer.org. It is very beautiful. There is a library there. You just search the name, and it'll pop up right there. And the PDF is pretty fancy. It's pretty fancy. You can like search things pretty easily. So yeah, the library is also really beautiful as well. I really do like that. So yeah, make sure that even if you are like, oh, I like this, but I want to read something else, you can go ahead and find something else in that library. There's quite a few books in there. Fire in the Mountain is in there, I'm pretty sure. That's one of my favorite books. It's a beautiful one. But make sure you all prioritize this one in particular, Materialism. Yes, we have it printed out. It's cute. We love it. It's cheaper.
Yeah, it is. Finding the book was not easy. So we were like, yeah, we're just gonna print it. So y'all can do that too. And a highlight. We have notes, like we said. We have notes on the side.
Color code.
Yep, color coded. So make sure y'all doing the same fancy little booklet. We have galleta written in the corners. So yeah, make sure that y'all are tuning in next week so that we can continue to have these beautiful conversations. We love interacting with y'all. Like City Builder B talking about materialism and the platypustic method. I don't even know how to say that word.
I'm pretty sure, oh my God, you could totally write that out. You really, really could.
Yeah, for real.
That
would be a much better section than some of the sections in here.
God.
God.
Do it. And continue to donate to the Cash App Rebuild and NOLA.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Go to outreach.
Mm-hmm. Talk to our people.
Be there for our people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Mm-hmm.